What is up, Impact? It's good to see you guys. I can't see. There we go. Now I think I can kind of see a little of you guys in the back. But, man, it is so good to be with you. It is so good to see your faces. And you know what's actually been really exciting for me this week? I don't know if you guys feel this, but it's actually kind of felt like fall a little bit. You know, it's kind of like, what was it, like 60, like 65 or something the other day? Oh, man. That's like prime Tanner, dude. If I walk out and it's 65, I'm down for anything. Like, I would take that all. How many of you would take that all year round? Now take into consideration, there's no probably sun tanning. Some of y'all are dedicated. Those things freak me out, dude. I ain't getting in there. Nope. I get claustrophobic. So anyways, that's a whole other tangent. But hey, this summer has been actually really, really busy. But there were some really, really good things this summer. We got to Cedar Point. I got to see God moving and change your hearts. So many awesome things. Raise your hand if you went to school today. Or was today your first day? Raise your hand if it was your first day. How many of you all started like a week ago? No way, right? Man, is that Concordia? Man, they got y'all quick. Yeah, they got you. Yeah, it's been a rough week for you, but it's all right. Man, that's all good. It's good to see you guys. I love the fall. I love everything about it. Fall means football. Fall means leaves. Fall means my wedding. Fall means all these. Yeah, it's going to be great. It's going to be great. Fall is so awesome. It is my favorite season, but there's something in the fall that I get super excited for that we do, and tonight is that night. Tonight is a special, unique night. It's been crazy summer. It's been awesome, but the fall is we do something. If you are new here, tonight is something special. Next week, we're launching a whole different thing with small groups and all that, but if you're new and you've recently jumped in or you jumped in with us this summer, tonight might feel just a little bit different. We have this really unique thing called Vision Night. Do we remember what that is? Kind of? It's okay. I'll explain. Tonight is something called Vision Night. Vision Night is simply this. It is the night that we communicate our heart on what we want Impact to be all about. And it's actually not me speaking. It's not Sav or Brad or anyone else. It's actually from your own peers. It's actually from 2 seniors, but also involving the entire senior class. We gather the seniors, and last week we said, hey, what do you want the vision for this school year to be? Things that we want to emulate. And when our senior class comes together in wisdom and in prayer, and they come up with a vision for Impact for all of us, something that we can go after, something that we can look at and say, I want that to be Impact. A goal we can continue to be reminded of and come back to. And so we cast this vision for the year. And some of the things in Vision Night, or as we sit together, the seniors gather, some of the things that we like to ask are, what are the values that we want to display this school year? What do we want others to see when they come here? That when someone walks through the doors for the first time, what do we want to reflect? What do we want to emulate? What do we want others to say when they speak about Impact? That when others are in your school or in your families and people who have never been to Impact, or maybe they have, when we mention Impact, what do we want others to see in us? What do we want others to see happen? What do we want to reflect? And so tonight is a special night where we cast a vision and we all buy in and say, that is what we want. That is what the Lord has placed in our hearts. And I don't want to give the message tonight. I'm not going to give the message tonight. Your peers will do that. But I do want to share a quick passage of Scripture as we kind of set our hearts kind of in that direction that I believe will place our hearts in the right place for the school year and for the rest of what you probably hear tonight. I am really excited, but before I read this passage, I want to give you some context into when it was written, into what is happening during this time. How many of you guys have heard of a guy named John the Baptist? Potentially? Yeah, maybe. We got a big John the Baptist fan over here. Somewhere over there, big fan. John the Baptist, yes. John the Baptist he was in Jesus' extended family. He was actually a very close friend of Jesus. And so they had a very unique, deep and rich friendship. And in this moment when this was written, actually John the Baptist was actually just killed by King Herod. And so there's this tough situation that unfolds here where John the Baptist has passed on and Jesus has just received this news from his disciples. And in this moment, Jesus was distressed and he decided to go be alone with his Father. They went up to Jesus and said, hey, this has happened. And Jesus, also being fully God, but also fully human, he feels the things that we feel. He empathizes with the things that we empathize with. He understands our hearts. And I want to read you Matthew chapter 14, verses 13 through 14. It says this: when Jesus heard what had happened, he withdrew by boat privately to a solitary place. Hearing of this, the crowds followed him on foot from the towns. When Jesus landed and he saw a large crowd, he had compassion on them and healed their sick. There's some powerful truths that within this passage that I want us to seriously look at. When Jesus was heartbroken, it would have been so easy as he lands here to tell the people, you know what, right now it just is not a good time. I'm feeling some things right now. It would have been so easy for Jesus to say, I just need to be about me right now. I can't talk to anyone. I don't have time for you right now. Something bad just happened. It would have been so easy for Jesus internally to think, you know what, these people, I've done so much for them, they can take care of themselves just this once. They can go do that. That would have been so easy for Jesus to respond in this way. But he didn't. In the middle of his heartbreak, in the middle of loss and trauma, he didn't say that. The text says right when he got back, he actually saw a large amount of people. And he didn't tuck away. He didn't turn around and go back. It says he had compassion on them and healed the sick. In other words, he was doing the will of God. He cared for them. He wanted to lay his life down for them and serve them. That when he landed, it wasn't me, but it was them. It was the will of God. It was his Father. It was all about the mission, all about his Father. Every step, every thought was about glorifying God. The text says he not only had compassion, but he healed the sick. In the midst of his distress, he wanted to do the work of God. And as I sit here and I read this text and I pray through this text, it begs the question, what if Impact was a place where we only wanted to glorify God and not ourselves? What if when we walked in, we said, I want to fix my eyes on the will of God. I want to care for others the way Jesus cared for others. I want to lay my life down the way Jesus laid his life down. What if when we walked in and saw this great crowd, when you walk through the doors, you see large amounts of people, you see your classmates, you see your teammates. What if we as a youth group were moved with compassion and wanted to seek Jesus by also seeking his people, caring for his people? What if it wasn't me, but it was him? What would Impact be like? And I see it as well, but sometimes it's not always like that. And I believe our seniors, as we gathered as a class, they were prayerful, and I believe they conducted a great vision for you guys. And so I want to invite Kenley and Brennan up. I believe us as a class, them as a class, conducted, okay, yeah, go ahead. As they come up, I believe not just these two, but as an entire senior class, this was the vision that they conducted as a class. And so I am excited about it, and I believe that they want to give a great vision, and I hope that our hearts are open to hear tonight. I hope that this isn't something that we receive from this class and these two and just say, that was great, move on, but rather this would stick in our hearts, that this would be the vision for Impact for this remaining school year. And so it is such a privilege and honor to bring up to the stage Kenley and Brendan. So would you give it up one more time for them?
Thank you, Tanner. What's up, guys? I'm Brennan, as Tanner said. I'm a senior at Blackhawk. If you don't know me, I'd love to get to know you, but I've been told I'm a scary guy at first, so just bear with me.
Awesome. I'm Kenley. Did you say your school too? Okay, I'm a senior at Carroll, and yeah, so I would also love to get to know you. So to start off, we're gonna take, if you guys went to Rap Trip, we're gonna take it back, just one of the things that we did. So we'd love for all of you to just stand up and find a different seat. We love you, but just stand up and find someone else to sit by that's not sitting by you.
Even you, yeah. Even you. Get up.
We love you so much. 30 seconds. Do, 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 do. Oh, okay. 10. Good job, everyone. Okay. Go ahead and find a seat.
Yes, I'm so excited.
Thank you. Okay. Everyone almost down? Okay. Awesome. Thank you guys so much. You're our rap trip that takes us back to speed dating. Yeah, just sitting by someone else. Anyways. So, so tonight's Vision Night, and this is something that all of us seniors collaborated with. This is not just Brennan and I up here giving you our idea about what we want for impact. This is all of our seniors working together and figuring this out, and obviously the Lord too. So our statement that we have for Vision Night is our vision is for impact to be about Him and not I. So obviously it's like, oh, sorry you guys moved around. That kind of can go into the idea of it being about Him in a silly way, because it's like each one of you, how many times maybe would you walk in here and think, I'm only going to impact to be with my best friend and sit by my best friend, and I might not go if they're going this week, all of those things. So that's just one example of maybe coming into impacts, and even life too, just thinking maybe internally about your own desires and what you would want. So but going along with the vision, impact is about Him. So we're going to focus on Him with the capital H. So just Him, about Him and not I. And so a verse that really goes along with that very well is Colossians 3, 1 through 2, and it says, since then you have been raised with Christ, set your hearts on things above where Christ is, seated at the right hand of God. Set your mind on things above, not on earthly things. So that verse obviously highlights in your mind, what are we going to set our hearts on? What are we going to set our eyes on? And that can really set the tone for what we're going to talk about tonight. So I want you just to internally think about maybe how many times you've walked into Impact, or honestly any other places, and just maybe thought about, like, this is all about me. This is what the worship song that I want. This is the message that I need to hear right now, or I need to sit by this person. And a personal example for me is worship. For years, I definitely have struggled with the idea of raising my arms. What if someone's going to look at me? What is Sav or Tanner going to think? Are they going to think I'm holy enough? Or just something silly like that. Or when I was a freshman, is my crush going to look at me raising my hand and think that I'm cool? Just simple things like that where it's, sorry. But so just little things like that where I was like, but is that really what we're here for? Am I really here to impress our youth pastors? They're great. They do great things at their job. But we're here for Jesus, and we're here for the Lord and what He has for us. So that's my example. I know Brennan has one too.
Yeah, I mean, I love what she said. We always can walk out saying, this was about me. That message didn't hit. And I remember one time, I have Tanner as my small group leader. And if you know a little about Tanner, he's a serious guy, but he's a funny guy. And sometimes you can't tell. And I sit down. And Tanner, he asked the question, did you guys like my message? I won't be offended if you did. And he looks at me, and I was like, Tanner, bro, that was not it. I'm sorry. And he looks at me, and he goes, the word of the Lord wasn't it for you? Think about it. I was like, dude, we just walked in. We're good. Calm down. But, just something like that. I made it about myself in that moment. And, that ties into our next point. And it starts with my posture. I walked in with the posture of pride, saying, that wasn't for me. It wasn't for me. And I'm going to put it aside. I'm not going to remember it because it didn't benefit me in the ways I wanted. But what we really need to do is walk in with the posture of one that's towards Him and not I. And when we do that, the next P is our pursuit for Him grows, And when our pursuit is on him, we aren't worried about who we sit by. We're worried about the seats that aren't filled. We're worried about the friends who don't know Christ. We're worried about the people who aren't here. And we're like, we need to bring them so they can experience it. And then once our pursuit grows and we realize what we're really here to do, then our passion grows. And people see passion. People see it. When you're playing sports, people see how much you love the game. They see how much you've put into it. But do they see the passion of Christ in you? And when they do that, they'll ask. They'll be like, you've changed. What is it? And you're like, that's when you're like, yeah, I got something for you, man. Come to youth group, come see Jesus. Don't see me. Don't see how I raise my hands. Don't see Sav. Don't see Tanner. They're great, and they're great. God's using them in amazing ways. But at the end, he's like, it's me. And that's what we need to be about. It starts with our posture, leads to pursuit, and then our passion is shown to other people.
PPP. That's what we really wanted you guys to take away from that. So you might be asking yourself, because we're all about action steps here. We want to, how do we put this into action? How do we work on focusing our eyes on him and not on me? Because that's so important. And so I was kind of thinking about this, and our world today is very self-motivating. A lot of it is about maybe what the best job for me, what we can do for ourselves, money, and all of those things. And we were thinking, what if Impact could be the one place that we could come to, and it's about our Creator, it's about our Father, and it's about the one who gave us life, who is the reason that we're here today. And so we just hope that this can be the one place that we could go, and we focus our eyes on Jesus and not ourselves. So I know one practical way that I was thinking about doing is small groups. So I know for me last year, I a lot of times would go into my small group, and a lot of us would say, like what Brennan said to Tanner, that message just wasn't good. That's not what I needed to hear, that I need more, I need more, I need more. But what if we went into small group every single week, because small groups is kicking off next week. What if we went in, and the first thing that we said was, how did God move? What was our posture during that? How can I see God moving through anything that was said in the message, the worship, anything like that? So, so I just think definitely small group is a way. You can even challenge your leaders to ask you, where was your heart during that message? Because that's so important when you're trying to focus on God and you're just doing that. So.
Yeah, I always love that point. If we just walked into small group saying that, because if we make this place about us, it's going to come to an end sometime or another. And if the entire time it was, I come here to satisfy the need, the hole I'm missing, and that's the goal. When we graduate out and we go somewhere else, we're gonna still look to satisfy that need because we've made it about ourselves. We don't know where we're going to satisfy it at. We might find it somewhere else because we've made it all about myself. And you'd say to yourself, Impact wasn't for me because I never took anything away from it, so I'm going to go find something else. This whole Jesus thing, it wasn't for me because I didn't find it. It's like that's the wrong idea. And I know another example is for me during worship. Tanner gave a message one time, and he used like a radio kind of thing. And he said, the voice of God is a constant. It doesn't move. It stays the same. And the voice of the world, you turn up or down. And sometimes we turn that puppy pretty high. We're worried about who's saying what about us during worship. Should I throw my hands up? Should I not? And I just think a practical example for me is just think about that and just turn the voice and the volume of the world down and focus on the Lord, because that's what we're here to do. And I just think it's one of those things that we have to really, really challenge ourselves as soon as we walk in the door. We sit down and we're not saying sitting by your friends is bad. The friends are great, but we challenge ourselves. And am I sitting by my friend because that's the only reason I'm here? Am I going to worship because I've had a rough week? Am I hoping to get a great message so I can benefit myself, not feel guilty? And if that's the case, it's the wrong case. I want to invite Jaden up here. He's going to lead us in a time of reflection. And I really just want us to just ponder on that. Think about to yourselves, what are some ways that I can walk in with the heart of, this isn't about me. It's about him. It's not about the person or neighbor sitting next to you. It's not about anybody. It's not about Sav. It's not about Tanner. It's about him. And then everything falls into place. So during this time, we asked you to move so you could really think to yourself about the posture. Really do a search in your heart about what's my posture at. Was my posture to start one on me? Then now's a great time to focus it to where it should be. And I think tonight's the great start to do that. Like Kenley said, we got small groups next week, and there's no better time to focus our posture than to start now. So if y'all would, please pray with me, and Jaden's going to lead us in a time of reflection. Dear Lord, I just thank you for this day, Lord. I just thank you for all the seniors who came up with this idea, and we're all passionate, Lord. I just pray that each week we walk in not thinking about ourselves, not thinking about the people around us, but we think about our posture, Lord, and we think, how am I glorifying you, Lord? Turn down the volume of the world and listen to you and what you want from me, Lord. I pray that we can fill these empty seats with people who need to be here and need to experience the love of Christ that is in us, Lord. I just pray that this time is a great time of reflection and one that is directed on you. In your name I pray. Amen.